This is the GameSir G7 and we have the SE and the HE just here, and they're basically the same controller, I think. The only difference is the buttons, one's membrane, one's like a tactile switch. Now these are an officially licensed Xbox controller, hence the Xbox clicky button at the top there. And we have this one, which you've been seeing, which is the Aniba version. So if you don't know what Aniba is, it's essentially like a game key marketplace that you buy keys from. And if you get this version where Aniba have teamed up with GameSir, you actually get a €5 Aniba gift card and a 1 month Game Pass Ultimate thing as well. But I will say the Game Pass Ultimate is for new subscribers only, so I couldn't use it, because I'm already an existing Game Pass subscriber. So yeah, this is a wired controller, so you do get a really, really long, nice braided cable with it if you, want to use that. But I do like the fact that it's, disconnectable, so that you can actually use your own cable if you want to, or if it breaks or anything like that. And there's just less chance of it breaking. If you take it out and store it wound up, then there's less chance of breaking the port or anything like that. So that's a good plus. Straight away, this faceplate is removable, so there's like a little notch at the top just there, and you can just pull it straight off. And they actually sell different faceplates if you didn't want to get, the faceplate that you ended up getting, because these are the SE and HE versions, so they've got like special covers and stuff, but they do sell like a general G7 as well, and I imagine you can just buy different faceplates for that. The gates are actually, inputted here, so you might be able to pop these out if you want to swap the gates, if you have gates that might fit. If not, then they are circular anti-friction rings around there. They don't light up or anything like that. I'm quite a fan of it, and they're super smooth joysticks. We have Hall effect analog triggers, but you can enable hair trigger mode in the software as well. And they even have rumble in the triggers, which is a personal favorite of mine. I do really enjoy rumble in the triggers, and this has them. And again, that's all customizable in the app, which is on Windows or on Xbox as well. So with this one, we've got membrane buttons, and to be perfectly honest, they feel really nice. They return very quickly. They protrude nicely. They're like a domed shape, so they're curved and everything. They are like glossy, but they do feel nice, to be perfectly honest. We've got rather clicky bumpers on the top there, but again, they feel good. They return well. The analog triggers just feel great, even when you're just using them in straight up analog mode. You might have noticed that the D-pad has some symbols on it, and that is because you can pair it up with that M button to change some features, which we'll go over soon, and I really like that. The D-pad itself is pretty good. It's not mushy or overly mushy. It's not clicky either. It protrudes quite nicely. It's got a good dome. It does input left and right inputs if you hold down and then rock it left and right, so that's something to note. It is an 8-way only, so you press it down, go like that. I mean, it would be pretty cool, GameSir, if you're watching, to adjust the app to allow you to switch this to a 4-way D-pad. That would be pretty cool, just like turn off all the diagonals, because I quite like having platform games where you turn it off so it's just a 4-way input. That's pretty cool, but yeah, that's not currently a feature. We've got that M button for doing some bits and pieces. We've got our standard start, select. We've got the clicky Xbox button as well. The rest of these are rather clicky. They're not horribly mushy or anything. You've got the share button up there, because obviously this does work with an actual Xbox as well. And then on the base, we do have a 3.5mm jack. You've got the mute or unmute, very clicky button just there. And it actually glows red when it's muted, which is pretty cool. We've got this really textured plastic finish on the grips. So that's like proper grippy. And it does feel nice in your hands, to be fair. Now on the back, on this one, which is another difference actually from the HE, I said it was only the face buttons. It's not, I'm lying. It's also the back panels, because on this one, we almost have like an off switch. Well, it is an off switch. It just says lock. So you've got R4 and L4 and then a lock. Now, I thought that would just like disable the button like digitally, but no, it physically just goes, you're not going to press it anymore. So I could press this back pad already, right? And it's clicking away, nice and clicky. Move that. Nothing, it just locks it into place as if it's not there at all, which is pretty handy because loads of people really don't like back paddles, AJ included, and he really doesn't like back paddles. So you know, I could say to him, oh, you can just lock these, and he would probably enjoy that. Whereas I'm the opposite. I really like back paddles. I always reassign stuff to them. And yeah, having that option to lock it out for people that doesn't like it, like Christina, she doesn't like them either, so she could just lock this off. Well, then that's pretty cool, you know, that there's a feature for that. Because even when you just digitally don't assign anything, some people like mentally can't get over that barrier of pressing a button and then they feel like they've done something. So I kind of like that they've physically stopped you from being able to press those buttons. It's pretty cool. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is, yes, we've got Hall Effect analog joysticks just here. And yes, they are completely circular, but you can enable RAW mode in the software, and that will let it be like the square gate, you know, like it removes the like circular dead zone over it so that it's got more of like a square pattern. Don't worry if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's just have a quick look at this Iron Man version, shall we? So the Iron Man version comes with this very nice red braided cable, and then this is the highly glossed Iron Man version, which is called the HE. It could have been a He-Man version, just saying. But yeah, very, very glossy, like super glossy, very slippery, kind of sticky because I'm slightly sweaty hands here. But yeah, so that is that one. I'm pretty sure this one comes off as well. And this one's got a cool like underneath logo as well. I really like that. I like this like matte black. I kind of dig just that. Like that looks cool, you know, like black and gold and a little bit of red. Kind of like it. This is a little bit too much for me personally, but you know, if you love Iron Man, well then cool. But yeah, so this is basically the same, but we now have mechanical clicky triggers, which is really, really nice. Like I much prefer that personally because they're super quick to actuate. So I prefer the buttons on this one, even though the ones on this one aren't bad. I just prefer mechanical switches, right? And then the only other difference is there's no on and off switch on the back here. All right, so let's plug it in. Now I'm gonna go and open the GameSir Nexus app, which I've downloaded on Windows, because yes, it does work with Windows and Xbox, right? And then it comes up and it even tells you which version you've got. So it says G7 SE at the top there. Now, initially you're like, oh, okay, nothing happens here. You've just got vibrates, update, which you can go to at the bottom there, and then it says, yeah, you're up to date. You can go to vibrates, and then it just tells you to vibrate, and you're like, oh, you can't do anything. Well, you can, because you can go to profiles, right? And it comes standard on default, right? But if you go over to profile 1 and go to configure, now you've opened it up and now you can do everything. So you can remap like everything just here. The only thing you can't remap is the share button and the macro button, the M button on the bottom here, which is like for mode switching and some of the other features as well, right? And then you can control this app just with the controller, so like bumpers to switch menu and stuff, and you can use the D-pad or the stick just there to go around. I find it easier with the D-pad. But yeah, so you can remap just here. So you can click on whatever it is and then choose from a set layout. You can't like remap absolutely anything. It's just like certain things, but it's still pretty cool. And you can remap the back paddles just there via that too. And you can do them hardware bound. You don't need the app for that. But if we go to sticks, then you can see just here at the bottom, annoyingly, because the screen's small, I can't I can't scroll on this page, but you can just about see the sticks just there, right? And if I go down and do raw, do you see how it's changed it to a square gate? So circular and then square, because joysticks actually input in a sort of square way, but because we've got a circular gate, usually you get like a dead zone put around that square gate to imitate a circle, right? It's all to do with maths and stuff. I don't know enough about it, so you know, let me know more down in the comments if you're like super nerdy on the way joysticks input and why it's a square sort of dead zone-y input-y gate thing. But what I do like is the fact that you can enable that. Now, if you enable raw mode, you're right, so if you want to raw dog it, it says raw dogging disables the outer radial dead zone, right, offering higher precision and spread in some games. You can also increase or decrease the dead zone, which is up here. Now, these are Hall Effect sticks, so you will be able to drop the dead zone, but it's on like 10% at the minute. And you can change the maximum as well. So you can really tailor your sticks just here. And then we can go across to triggers just here, and you've got the triggers just there. So they're inputting in an analog way, right? But if you go down to hair trigger, so hair trigger, boom, it just turns it into a digital input, so it's immediate. So if you're playing shooters or whatever, you want this just so that you're getting a really good shot, right? Instead of maybe not actually actuating properly. So hair trigger mode on for shooters, and you can assign that to a profile and then just change that with the M button, which is pretty cool. You can go to vibrate, and you can see here as well, because I've left it in analog mode, the vibrate actually starts off really low, and the further I press it, the more intense the vibrate goes. But if we went back over to triggers and put on hair trigger mode, now it's just full, like 100% straight away. It's pretty cool, right? And I really like the fact that you can tailor this. So like I said before, you've got rumble motors in the actual triggers themselves, and you can tailor that. Now, they are slightly inconsistent. My left one's a little bit more buzzy than the right one, but to be honest, they feel fine, and you wouldn't notice that in a game. It's only with me like testing them and being like, yes, one's like slightly more buzzy than the other, you know, but really, if you just felt this and played a game, you probably wouldn't even notice. Now, you can sync the vibrates up and other stuff as well, and you can even turn off like testing the vibration, so you can change the vibration of the actual rumble motors and the bass and the handles just here, as well as in the triggers. It's pretty cool. And then up at the top, you've got like a test controller mode, and you can just test inputs and stuff. Obviously, if you're on a bigger screen, you'd be able to see this better. It's just because I'm on a little 7-inch screen just here, and it's kind of cutting it off, but there we go. So you can go back out of that. I don't know how to go back on the controller. I was using this earlier, like, so I just had to use that. If you've got a mouse plugged in or whatever, it's fine. But yeah, so you can change the profiles just there, and the report rate. Now, I've already changed this because it comes set out of the gate at 250 hertz. Now, being wired, I would expect that to be higher. So you have to actually go into the app to change this. So you've got 500 hertz, which is, you know, getting better. And you even have 1,000 hertz polling rate, like report rate, which is really high. But it says this is an experimental feature, and the headphone jack was now disabled. So this will now be like, So really, you probably want to just leave it on 500 if you're going to be using the headphone jack. If you don't care about it like me, then, you know, leave it on 1,000 hertz. But, you know, I've been using 500 and not had a problem. Right, now I just want to show you the actual sticks, right? So I've gone onto this testing website, and you can see, again, we've enabled the circular sort of dead zone thing just here, so they input as complete circles. But what I wanted to show you is their circularity test with their error rate, right? So if I press right and then slowly go around in a circle, both of these, I've tested this several times, they're both at 0.4% average error rate, which is really, really good. You know, that's really good. Again, they're Hall effect sensing joysticks, so you're not going to get any drift. You're going to have lower dead zones. They're just more accurate. As you can see here, 0.4% error rate. That's really, really good. Now, finally, I want to talk to you about those macro buttons and that D-pad, because this is a really cool feature that I've seen on some other GameSir controllers, but I've not really seen it anywhere else, and I really, really like this. So it kind of tells you what's going on. You've got a little controller there, or you've got like a little dude just there. So yeah, you can press the M button and then up and down just to control the volume on your Xbox or whatever, just like global volume, right? But what I really like is with those little symbols on the left and right, if you press M and then press left for the gamepad mode, right, that's going to increase the volume of the game whilst decreasing your chat volume. However, if you press M and then right on the D-pad, that's going to decrease your game volume but boost your chat volume. So you can actually change the mix of your audio via your controller. I think that's really handy. I've really enjoyed this controller. I find it a little bit expensive because it's £60 and their other G7 controllers are like 40. So you're paying like 20 quid more for like a designed one. I'm not too sure if that's correct. It seems slightly wrong to me, but yeah, £60. You're getting a lot of controller here. You know, Hall effect sensing joysticks. You've got Hall effect analog triggers. You've got your D-pad crazy doodads where you can control the voice and everything. Your like in-game voice chat. You're like a mixer on your controller. You've still got your input. I really like the back paddles and the fact that you can just hardwire turn them off so that they don't work at all. And then the fact that you've got that app where either on PC or on Xbox where you can completely customize everything, change profiles and everything, turn these into hair trigger modes. You can change the joysticks and the dead zones and absolutely everything else. You can change the vibration on the triggers, which again, I love vibration modules in the triggers themselves. They still have vibration down here as well. It's really, really good. You know, licensed Xbox controller, so you've got the Xbox button, which is really handy as well. My only other thing, which is, you know, just a thing with licensed Xbox controllers at the minute, is that it's wired only, you know? I really hope that more companies start being able to make wireless Xbox controllers, because a lot of these have great features, but I'm just never going to use them with a cable because I've got a very big dog, and if I've got this going across my entire living room, he's going to come through and just pull everything off the stand. So yeah, it's just a no-go for me having wired, unless I'm sat at my PC just here gaming, which, you know, generally I just stream my PC down to the TV down in the sitting room. So whatever, I'm just rambling now. Anyway, that is the GameSir G7 HE and SE. And yeah, if you think they're cool, let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And once you're down there, like this video, subscribe as well. Oh yeah, and check out the podcast where me and AJ talk about all things gaming. Check out another video from me down here. Bye. Become a member as well.